take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. It's time!
It's Sunday, July 11th, 2021. This is the Church of MMA podcast. My name is Tabor Cragen.
My name is Mason Knight. This is episode 82, UFC 264 recap. After that, we jump to some MMA news, and then we talk about the highly anticipated Islam Makhachev versus Thiago Moises preview show. But before all that, Tabor, where do we begin?
Social media accounts, Mason, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at the Church of MMA, TikTok as well, Gab as well for your free speech lovers. Guys, hit up our Instagram. That is the one we stay up to date on the most. Posting funny memes, clips of the show every single day, news updates. Hit us up.
Yeah, and a few other things in the works. We just built a website, the Church of MMA podcast, or the churchofmma.com. You can go check out our website. And we just recorded our first podcast exclusive for our Patreon that we will be releasing here very soon. You know, if the 5.5 hours wasn't enough for the podcast that we did yesterday, we also did a Patreon exclusive. And what those are is just basically we riff on anything. I think we talked about like aliens and the UFO sightings
aliens,
and all that.
We talked about God. We talked about creation and existence.
My favorite part of the whole conversation was consciousness. We talked about what is your energy, what is your soul, all this stuff, and we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, but it was a great conversation nonetheless.
Excuse me,
We did that all in 45 minutes, by the way.
We did, yeah. It was fun. We bounced around a lot of different topics while we did that, but that'll be showing up on our Patreon soon. We got to figure out what we're going to do there, but it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Some behind the scenes footage, maybe some personal vlogs. We're still working on it, but it'll be a good first episode.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So like Mason said, thechurchofmma.com, Patreon coming soon at the Church of MMA. And like Mason said, yeah, we went 5 hours yesterday for our fight companion, UFC 264. And that was the first time for us going that long.
Yeah. And I loved it. I had so much fun. The chats were fun, too. We had a lot of people. Ignorant MMA was chilling with us the entire night. So it was cool, man. It was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing more of them. We did not hit our mark of 1,000 YouTube subscribers, but we did gain 10 during that live stream. We are only 9 away from 1,000.
9 away. So guys, steal your mom's credit card. No, don't do that, actually.
No, don't do that.
Steal your girlfriend's phone, your mom's phone, your brother's phone, sister's phone, anyone's phone, your friend's phone. You're hanging out with a friend. Put this podcast on during a road trip. Get your friends into the show. Get them to subscribe. Let's hit 1,000. Community page coming soon. Polls, memes, all this other stuff for the YouTube channel. Guys, push us to 1,000. Once we hit 1,000, it's only up from there.
Yeah.
It's only up from there.
And Kevin Weeks was chilling with us for
a long time last night. Shout out Kevin Weeks here already.
Already here in the chats.
And, you know, he's already coming up with good takes. Who does Dustin face next? Let's get into that, Mason. As we always start, we start with the main event of the evening. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 3. Immediate reaction, I guess?
This is why Dustin Poirier is the number one contender in the lightweight division right now. Plain cut and dry. I mean, he dominated that first round. Yes, it's horrific. It fucking sucks for hardcore MMA fans because you already know how this is getting phrased. You already know how the storyline is coming together. Only a guy like Conor McGregor can lose and be 1-4 in his last fights and still have the potential to fight Dustin Poirier, who could go out there and win the lightweight belt against Charles Oliveira. And Conor could get that fight. Dana in the post-fight press conference was already talking about how Conor and Dustin are definitely going to run that one back again. And like from a business point, and I feel like we do this all the time on this podcast, from a business perspective, you can't hate Dana White for it. You can't, because I get it. It makes buco bucks. I mean, Dana White was just talking that they may, and these are estimated numbers right now. We will get official numbers later on, but he said anywhere in the range to 1.7 to 1.8 million pay-per-view buys. That is a huge card. It's not bigger than the Khabib Conor, but it's pretty fucking close. That's 300,000 or 400,000 pay-per-views away from that. You're talking about a trilogy. And with the storyline now, with Conor breaking his foot, you know every casual out there is going to be like, oh, there's no way Conor would have won that fight. It was looking good. No. Dustin Poirier was dropping elbows from hell with so much malice behind
Dominating
those,
on the ground.
He looked awesome. Dustin Poirier looked phenomenal and a constant reminder of why he's the number one contender in the lightweight division. And honestly, future Hall of Famer, unquestionably. This guy has fought the best of the best, and since losing his belt to the greatest lightweight of all time, Habib Nurmagomedov, and yeah, whatever, I get that. But still, he was a champ. He has just gone through, he's had some phenomenal fights, Dan Hooker. It's just so, for me, Dustin Poirier deserves the next shot of the lightweight belt. That's definitely a fight he's going to get, he's going to take, and I cannot wait for it.
Yeah, I can't wait for that fight. But as you were saying, I mean, Ant W, shout out my guy, always here week after week coming in with hot takes. How crazy it that Dana said he was willing to do the fourth fight next year if Dustin beats Oliveira. Yeah. And they make that fight.
That's
Conor will be fighting for a title. Yeah, like you said, Conor will be fighting for a title without a lightweight win since 2016. Why are we doing this? Is this a sport or is this an entertainment business? You can't have the benefits of both. You cannot say, hey, this is a sport. This is a legitimate sport. The number one contenders fight the champion every time. The best of the best in the world fight each other while doing these business majority decisions. I don't fucking understand it. It has to be one or the other. You can't do both.
And now hear me out. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
But here's the conundrum. You have these, and I feel like we bring it up a lot, but it does correlate here. You have these YouTube stars who are making millions of dollars. The UFC, as much as Dana White does not want to admit this, he is competing with that.
Yes.
So when you get casuals in, for a guy who can be 1-3, 1-4, like Conor McGregor, I mean, the guy who asked him the question in the pink suit and pissed Conor off says, you have won one fight since President Barack Obama. That is huge. When it was phrased to me like that, I'm like, how is this guy still, a top 5 lightweight?
He isn't.
It's insane.
He isn't anymore.
Well, right.
That's the thing. But because of business decisions always come into it, because the money decisions always come into it, they push this guy as if he is. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that. Okay, if this is a sport, if this is the best of the best fighting the best of the best, you cannot make decisions like this. You can't play both sides, Dana. I don't understand these decisions. I get it when you talk about money and you talk about business, but it doesn't make the sport better.
It doesn't necessarily make the sport better, but it brings more eyeballs and more business.
Absolutely.
The same way for boxing that Jake Paul... I got to give a little respect to Jake. Let's go to Logan. The same way that Logan Paul... is not cream of the crop boxer. Like, he's not a professional boxer, but it puts more eyeballs towards boxing. Before the Paul brothers and outside of Floyd Money Mayweather, how often were people talking about boxing? Seriously. There was a lull there for about 8 to 10 years where no one really gave a shit about boxing. You had your Tyson era, you had obviously Muhammad Ali, like all these great boxers. But outside of that, there was that period where no one gave a shit about boxing. There's a resurgence now in it because casual eyeballs are being brought to the sport. I'm not defending Dana here. Because I'm a hardcore too. I don't like this shit either. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. But from a business perspective, when you're bringing in casuals, that's more money, that's more revenue for the company.
Well, we have to realize as UFC fans that the casuals run this business.
Absolutely.
The casuals are the major market here. The casuals is who they're trying to break into, and the casuals gravitate towards Conor McGregor.
Absolutely.
It's the unfortunate truth of this. I mean, you cannot sit there. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the double standards, man. You cannot sit here and say you're a legitimate sport, NFL, MLB, blah, 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 all this bullshit, and then at the same time give a guy who's 1-3 in his last 4 fucking fights a title shot. And that's what's coming. Ant W, great take is here. It would be great for the NFL if the Cowboys played in the Super Bowl every year, but the NFL can't just put them in there. The UFC has to have integrity when it comes to belts. Absolutely 100% agree.
But and this is not a football podcast, it's the only comment I'm going to make. The Cowboys are my favorite football team. They have been. And it would be really nice if the NFL just put them in a fucking Super Bowl, because I'm never going to see them in a Super Bowl.
Even as a Cowboy fan, you wouldn't like that.
No, of course
not.
If
the Cowboys, I know. But if the Cowboys went fucking 4-12 and they put them in the Super Bowl
right,
anyways or some shit,
yeah, for sure.
Fuck you guys. If they just want to put the Browns in the Super Bowl,
dude,
let's
shut
do
up.
it,
Don't even
baby.
bring the Browns
Throw
up.
us in that motherfucker. Let's do it tomorrow.
They might not just put the Browns in. They might make it, bro. They got a pretty good team.
I don't want
They got a great offensive line, too.
I already put a very large bet on them to win the Super Bowl, so that's already done.
You're insane.
This is an MMA podcast. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a hardcore fan. I'm not going to say I'm a casual. I'm just going to say I'm a fan of the sport, and I love the sport for what it is. But it's like this doesn't make your fans happy.
No.
Your true fans.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing here? And why is this the first thing we have to talk about every fucking time when it comes to stuff like this? We should be talking about how great Dustin Poirier is. We should be talking about how good this matchup is with Charles Oliveira. But instead, we're talking about, oh, McGregor broke his foot, so essentially Sugar Sean O'Malley him. He's still undefeated. That doesn't count. No. You got put to bed in that first round. What are they thinking? Oh, money, business decisions. Okay, then it's not a sport. I guess that's really my whole take when it comes to that.
It's a novelty.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this, obviously, Dustin won the trilogy, and it was a great, masterful performance. He looked phenomenal. He was the clear winner in round 1. But this is worse, and believe it or not, and I'm not necessarily saying for Dustin because he'll make a lot of money. This is good for him and, like, you know, be financially free for the rest of his life. But it puts this stain on it with so many of the casual fans because they look at the leg break and they go, well, Conor could have won that fight. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because we're going to get to this point now, and I just don't understand how Conor is so lucky. It must be the luck of the Irish. It has to be the luck of the Irish because the way he loses the trilogy is breaking his leg. So, of course, there is some deniability there with the casuals because they go, oh, he broke his own leg. How can you say that Dustin won the trilogy? So they can run it back yet again. This is worst case scenario for all the hardcore fans out there who just want to see something different than Conor McGregor get a shot while being 1-4. I mean, it's wild that we literally in the post-fight conference had Dana White say they're going to run it back after the Dustin Charles fight. Mm-hmm. What the fuck?
Well, and like, let's just say hypothetically Dustin beats Charles.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happens.
Yeah, let's do hypotheticals.
Let's do hypothetical.
Like
he beats him. Conor comes back after a year. His leg's fully healed. They give him that title shot. It's like, would Dustin Poirier be an idiot to say no? Yes.
Exactly.
He's going to say yes to that.
And that's the thing. I don't hate Dustin. I don't blame Dustin. You know, he's gotta be financially set. You don't get that many opportunities to be a multimillionaire as a UFC fighter. Mm-hmm. So take those opportunities. And I lay no fault on Dustin Poirier if he takes that 4th fight. I really don't. I don't, because I understand it. He wants to provide for his family. He wants to be financially set. This is the toughest sport in the world to do. So, like, again, my grief is not with Dustin Poirier. If I was in his shoes, absolutely, I would take that 4th fight. You have to. You got to think about your wife, your kids, you know, your family. However, as far as the sport is concerned, it is the absolute worst thing in the world to have a guy 1-4 fight for a lightweight belt when you have savages like Justin Gaethje, Beneil Dariush, who has been tearing through this lightweight division. Like, what? I mean, Chandler, you know, I feel like those are the strongest 2 cases right there. Justin Gaethje, Beneil Dariush. Chandler coming off the loss, can't really do that. And you know what? Even Rafael Dos Anjos deserves some fucking respect here in this lightweight division. You know? Like, so it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It is very frustrating because this is the worst case scenario for the hardcores.
Yeah. Shout out to Desi. Everyone that's in the comment section right now, make sure you like this video. Make sure you're sharing to your friends. Let's push this up to 1,000 subscribers. But shout out Desi. Is Conor done being a top contender of the lightweight division?
Yes.
Yeah, should be.
I think so. Aunt W, right now, as a fan, I would favor Poirier, Oliveira, Gaethje, Chandler, Dariush, Hooker, Makhachev over Conor.
Absolutely.
I think they would win quite easily. Chandler is Conor's best matchup in the elite.
And here's the thing with Conor McGregor, okay? I love that he is in this sport still, and I love watching him fight. Love him or hate him, there's something magical about a Conor card. Now, let me finish this point because this is what will make more sense. I would rather see spectacle fights. I'd rather see legendary fights with Conor McGregor. So, for instance, Nate Diaz trilogy. I think that is fair. I think for both fighters, they're both big stars. Let's get that one going. I wouldn't even mind Conor moving up to 170. He might fight Nate at 170 probably. Mm-hmm. But, you know, fighting Jorge Masvidal, Gamebred. Those are all great fights. In those fights, I would not be mad at all with the UFC. I would be very entertained. I would pay for pay-per-view dollars if that was the main event. I mean, how do you not? Conor versus Nate 3, you still love it. Even at Conor 1-4, there's just so much shit talking that would go. You love the approach of Nate Diaz just being who he is, so authentic. That's fun. Let's run that one back. Let's do even Conor versus Jorge. Let's do that one. I love it. They're both strikers. Like, that'd be a great fight. But I'm done with this whole conversation of Conor McGregor fighting for the lightweight belt.
Yeah, so let's end the Conor.
Actually, Tabor, can I ask you a question? Let me throw something out here for you guys. Does this loss hurt his star at all?
No, I don't think any loss hurts him.
Does he diminish anything, any type of views? Does his star take a
well,
because at certain points, he has to start taking shots. If he loses 7 in a row, you're not going to keep paying to see him fight. They have to throw him a freebie eventually.
And to go with that argument, maybe it is hurting his star power because Dana White just said not too long ago, I think he said last night, he said this pay-per-view is looking around 1.6, 1.7 million buys. I mean, he's not hitting the numbers that he broke the records with. He's not hitting the Nate Diaz numbers. He's not hitting the Habib numbers. Is that just that the star of Nate Diaz and Habib is bigger than Dustin? Probably. I would say that, absolutely. But I mean, is that affecting pay-per-view buys as well? Is Conor McGregor losing his star power? That's a good question, Gids. To be honest with you, I would say probably yes, but I just don't know. He's still bringing in the casuals.
Yep. So to us, yes, he loses credibility.
But he's been losing that for major, hardcores. He's been losing shine for a while. It's
absolutely.
Just casuals. At what point do casuals feel that they need to stop watching him?
I go back to this argument every time with the casuals. Is they're going to look at this fight and they're going to go, oh, Conor broke his own leg. Therefore, this fight doesn't really count. I honestly, believe it or not, I don't believe Conor McGregor's stock in the casuals' eyes and perspective drops that much because he broke his own leg. For us, it's clear cut and concise. Conor McGregor is not a top 5 guy. Dustin Poirier deserves everything that's coming towards him, being the number 1 contender, doing this twice to Conor McGregor. He deserves a lightweight belt. But to casuals, man, I really don't think his stock falls. They don't look at it the same way we look at it.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree 100%. Ant W, shout out once again with your good takes. I would take the version of RDA that beat Felder over McGregor. We have seen at 155 lately. Even a guy like Riddell would be a problem for Conor. I guess to finish this Conor talk before let's move on to the future of Dustin and stuff like that. He needs to fight one more time. If he just gets a title shot, comes back up from this injury and gets a title shot, I'm going to be really upset. I mean, eventually, I don't want to be... I don't want to talk shit about Dana, because you talk shit about that guy, say this podcast blows up one day, it's going to be bad.
But not only that, but Dana White's good at what he does.
I understand that.
You can't deny the power in Dana White.
I understand that, but I'm not going to be a guy like the Schmo who's not going to say who purposely avoids saying things.
Well, of course, that's his boss.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be. The Schmo, in my opinion, is like the Tim Cast of the MMA podcasting world. He's just kind of milquetoast, and he doesn't say anything to piss anybody off. But I mean, when stuff like this happens, man, you're going to get the takes that a lot of fans actually want to say.
Yes.
And some podcasts won't because they don't want to piss off the UFC and Dana White and all this stuff. If this happens, man, it's not going to be good.
No.
I'm going to have a lot of rants. I'm going to have a lot of problems with the UFC. I'm going to have a lot of problems with Dana White and the decision-making they're making here. But in business perspective, it always comes back to that.
I know.
I understand because it makes buco bucks.
I know. It's just, dude, it's so frustrating.
It is.
Because I again will go on rants. I will be very upset if Conor McGregor just comes back and gets a title shot after losing 2 straight to Dustin.
Yeah. So guys, like we said, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button because you're going to get takes here that you're not going to see at other MMA podcasts.
Absolutely.
This is what the fans really think. So before we move on from this fight, let's talk about Dustin's future. We haven't touched on that at all. Obviously he's going to fight Oliveira next. Do you like that matchup? Who are you going to take in that fight? Do you think Poirier and Oliveira match up well? Do you think it's going to be more one-sided? What is your take on that?
Fight of the year. It's going to happen in December. And this is just my take. I don't know this for sure. It's not confirmed. But my take is this fight happens in December, the end of the year card. I think this is a barn burner. I think it's 4 or 5 rounds. And dude, it's going to be incredible. This fight is the true lightweight champion of the world. Charles is obviously the true champ, but what I'm saying is Dustin is the true number 1 contender.
Absolutely.
In this division. And dude, that fight's going to be insane. I keep going back and forth. The way Dustin looked last night against Conor, I was like, damn, that's going to cause some problems for Charles. Those elbows he was throwing with so much malice and so much power. I mean, you could tell those were rattling Conor even before, they stood up and he broke his leg. They were bothering Conor, man. I keep going back and forth. I don't know who's going to win that one. I cannot wait for that fight either. It's going to be top.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Gun to my head, I'm taking Oliveira in that fight. I think the striking's too smooth. He's too evolved. He's too good on the feet. And the jiu-jitsu is just a whole nother level. So, yeah, I think if it stays on the feet, this is where Dustin has his best chance. If it goes down to the ground, I'm going to give Oliveira every advantage there. I'd love to see what Dustin could do on top with a guy who's that comfortable off his back.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I'm very excited for that fight. And it's a fight that could be made fairly soon. Dustin did not take the most damage. Yeah, he got kicked in the leg quite a few times early in the fight. But, I mean, that guy, takes a few weeks off and takes a vacation. This fight could be made November, December.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the lightweight division in a whole, as a whole. Okay, so obviously Dustin will take on Charles probably towards the end of the year, maybe the start of 2022 potentially. But we have Justin Gaethje and Beneil Dariush at 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. Chandler obviously just losing his last fight to the champ Charles Oliveira. So is that the matchup to make? Justin Gaethje versus Beneil Dariush for the #1 contender. Do you put this on like a November, December card to see who the true #1 contender is?
If Beneil takes the fight, you remember Beneil came out and said he doesn't want to fight the rest of the year. So who knows? Yeah. I think Justin Gaethje needs to have a fight made. The fact that this man doesn't have a fight made already is it's unfortunate. Like, this man should have probably already fought. He usually fights once a year, but he's a main event every time. There's going to need cards that need to get filled, and he's a name that should be put out there for a lot of guys. Well, I mean, I love this lightweight division. Justin Gaethje should be in a #1 contender fight. Absolutely.
Well, we're literally sneaking up on a year. His last loss was obviously to the champ Khabib Nurmagomedov in October of 24.
Oh, October, that's right.
October 24th. And so we are sneaking up there because, he's got to have an 8-week training camp, and we're almost into August. So it's like, it's wild, man. We got to get Justin Gaethje a fight. I think Beneil Dariush at the end of the year would be perfect. I know Beneil said he wanted to take the year off, but I think if they schedule that for December, I think Beneil would take that. He's had some time off.
Absolutely. Before we move on from this fight, shout out Aunt W once again. I like Oliveira by submission. Dustin jumps on that guillotine every time someone shoots on him. Charles will escape and get the back similar to how he did against Chandler. Charles via rear naked choke. Yeah, that'd be the worst possible thing. You'd like Kevin Weeks, shout out Oliveira by KO for me. Ignorant MMA, shout out. Thanks for being here, boys. Let's go, boys. What a crazy night. Charles had issues with Felder's elbow too. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. They're absolutely right there. So, to end this fight.
And the last guy to beat the champ.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. You're all right.
Paul.
Absolutely. So, to end it all on this, to end it on this topic on the main event before we move on, like, Dana, please listen to your fans, man. Don't listen to the casuals.
Dana
I know the casuals.
We don't
have that.
Cyril Yan versus Derek Lewis.
He should, though, because really these are the people buying every pay-per-view. These are the people watching every single fight night. These are the people who, for the most part, I mean, is he making so much money on these one-off Conor McGregor cards and these one-off pay-per-views that it completely disregards the rest of the years? Like the rest of every other card?
Yeah. I mean, you would think so.
That's the sad part.
At this point, he doesn't put on any other bigger cards that are going to do any. So what fight can he put on for the rest of the year that does better numbers than this?
If there isn't one, you're right.
It would have to be John versus Ngannou, and
that doesn't
promote it like a motherfucker.
And that doesn't hit 1.7.
No,
it
it's 1.2.
It may be 1.1, 1.2.
If it even breaks a mil. Like, I think breaking a mil would be pretty hard to do, but I think it could happen.
Those two would be the only guys who would do it, though. Who could break a mil would be those two. But it wouldn't come close to what Dustin and Conor just did.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
So, church coin picks. I went all in on Poirier, and thank goodness.
Yes, you did.
Thank goodness I did, because it got me a good return. I put 5,000 church coin after all the other bets, and that got me a nice return of 4,000 church coin. And that bet right there actually gave me the lead for the first time of the year.
Yeah, first time this year. Yeah, well, don't get used to it, pal. The storyline leading up to this, all the shit talk, the different way Conor approached this, I could tell at times it was getting to Dustin, but obviously not enough. And obviously he didn't take any unnecessary risks against Conor. He outclassed him. He pummeled him into the ground. And for whatever reason, I really thought this was Conor's big opportunity. If he lost this fight, I was like, okay, well, there's nothing left except that Nate Diaz trilogy and maybe Jorge Masvidal. I put 2,500 on Conor, but I am so fucking glad Dustin won this fight. I just wish he would have finished him because now it just leaves it open for the fourth, but we already talked about that. I don't want to jump into that.
Absolutely. A finish would have silenced all.
Yep. I mean, it silenced it for me. He was beating the shit out of him. Yeah. He finished him. Like, it is what it is.
Absolutely.
And, like, you have to look at the fatigue of Conor, too, to be able to step back because he was so incredibly tired to break his own leg. Like, he was tired. You could see, man. Again, it is what it is.
Absolutely. Alex Alberto G. Conor was boxing him up. Yeah, he looked pretty good there, but I mean, once he got taken down, it was all one-sided from there. All right, let's move on to the next fight. Wonder Boy versus Gilbert Burns. This wasn't the most entertaining fight. I thought this would have been the most entertaining fight, but Gilbert Burns fought a very, very smart fight. He was picking his shots, and he was picking his takedown attempts as well. Pressured Wonder Boy, put him up against the fence, got multiple takedowns from it, and he fought a very fucking smart fight.
Yeah, he definitely did. He won the first. I felt like Wonder Boy won the second, and then Gilbert won the third. Mm-hmm. But if I'm being honest here, it wasn't my favorite fight.
No.
And I mean, no disrespect. Like, I could never get in an octagon. I could never fight. But like, as just like a fan watching it, it just wasn't the most entertaining. At no point did I think someone was going to finish the fight.
I think that's how you have to beat Wonder Boy.
Yeah, you do.
You have to. It doesn't make for an entertaining fight, but it's how you beat him. I mean, look how Tyron fought him. Yeah. The exact same way, and he got that win the second time. So, I mean, that's the way you have to fight Wonder Boy, unfortunately. It doesn't make for an entertaining fight, no. But it gets you the victory, and that's what all really matters. We talked about it last night on the Fight Companion. Guys, go check that out as well. Make sure you smash that like button, share it to your friends. We talked about it a lot. Like, does this get Gilbert Burns back into the contender spot? Like, does he need one more fight to fight for a title again? Is he a number one contender worthy fight guy? Do you make that matchup, or do you make him fight maybe a Khamzat Chimaev or something like that?
So let's talk about how fucked up the UFC is to my guy, Leon Edwards. Mm-hmm. Okay, because this is where I see this going. Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman 2 is pretty much confirmed, I think, at this
90%,
point.
they said.
Yeah, it's like 90%. I mean, I don't want to put out fake news, but they're working on that, right? And they've been very clear-cut and concise about that. So that fight's more than likely going to happen. You know what they're going to do to Leon Edwards?
They'll probably make
him fight Burns. Mm-hmm. They're going to make this man who has won 9 fights in a row, who has had 10 fights in a row, they're going to make this guy fight Gilbert Burns. It's just fucking insane to me.
Can I play devil's advocate
Sure.
for a second? Mm-hmm. If you look at his last 2 fights versus Nate and then Bilal Muhammad, I mean, it's not a great to build your resume off of those. One was a no contest, and the other one, Nate could have finished him if he would have actually tried in the 5th round. I'm not saying that I'm saying it's still unfair, but if you look at it from the UFC's perspective, you got to win one more, and you got to do it impressively, and Gilbert Burns is just sitting there.
Mm-hmm. I hear that point, but this welterweight division is fucking stacked, dude. You have Jorge Masvidal at 7, Neil Magny at 8, Bilal Muhammad at 9, Jeff Hands is still Neil at 10, Michael Chiesa at 6, Vicente Luque at 5. These are all killers, man. And for Leon Edwards to string together 9 wins in a row in this division is very impressive. Bilal Muhammad, he was clearly going to win that fight. And look, I know, no contest, you're absolutely right. And on the books, it is a no contest, so we must talk about it in that way. But Nate Diaz, he was whooping Nate, and I'm a big Diaz fan, but he was whooping Nate's ass for 4.5 rounds. That last 60 seconds, he got caught, he wobbled. But at the end of the day, he survived and overall dominated that fight against a guy in Nate Diaz, a savvy vet. So again, like for me, it really sucks seeing Leon Edwards. It's like, when is he going to get a shot? And here's the thing that really sucks. What if he goes out there and loses to Gilbert Burns? You ever think this guy's getting a shot at the belt?
No, he'll have to work his way back up.
It's the Tony Ferguson situation here, where Tony won the interim belt, got stripped of the interim belt, and never got that opportunity after stringing together 8-9 wins. You know, it's just, I hate seeing fighters like this who work so hard throughout their entire career and put together just an impressive streak of wins, and they don't get that opportunity because of politics. You know, like company politics and policy of like, oh, we got to do the Colby Covington rematch. Great fight. 2-2 going to the 5th. We talk about it all the time. You know, Kamaru Usman finished him. And I'm not mad about this rematch. I think it's deserved. And I think I'm okay with it. But Leon doesn't have to fight again. Leon does not have to fight again. But that begs the question, if I'm saying that, who does Gilbert Burns fight next? My number one guy who I'd love to see Gilbert Burns fight, which it would make no sense because Thompson was 4, but Vicente Luque at 5. Luque versus Burns, please. But Leon Edwards deserves the next shot after Colby.
Yeah.
He just does.
Shout out Ant W.
Yeah, I was going to say, check out the comments.
Yep.
Ant just dropped a bomb on you.
Dropped a good bomb, but I'm going to read this one first. Usman versus Colby, Leon versus Burns, And then Wonderboy versus Masvidal 2. Wonderboy and Masvidal 2 is never going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Masvidal's, if he was smart, he'd never take that fight. Leon has to take the Burns fight because if they convince Masvidal to take the fight and Burns goes out there and dominates Masvidal, he will jump Leon anyways. So, yeah, I think that's just the way it's going to have to go. Leon's going to have to fight one more time. Dana's already talking about how they want to match Leon up one more time. It is unfortunate. I agree with everything you say. He deserves a sit. It's just probably not going to happen, unfortunately, for him. This version of Burns loses badly against Usman again. Yes, 100%. 100%. I think Burns and Luque are best friends. They all came out of the same camp. So is Usman. Yeah. So, I mean, Usman-Luque, that's probably a matchup they're not going to make. I mean, he did fight Burns, but maybe. You know, Usman is now working with Trevor Whitman. He's not at that camp no more. Usman dominated Leon in that first fight, 30-27, and has only gotten better, 100%. I think Usman's the best 170 in the world, and he will be for a long time.
Okay, but I mean, if we're going based on that, how long ago was that Kamaru Usman-Leon Edwards fight? So you could say the same thing about Conor and Dustin.
Absolutely.
Fucking Conor starched him the first time in 2014.
Absolutely,
so he doesn't deserve to fight. No, I don't like that argument, man. Mm-hmm. Like, fighters change, they evolve, they become different, better fighters. Like, Leon Edwards has improved so much that, am I saying Kamaru Usman won't win that fight? No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is I really think Leon Edwards would be much more competitive. I think he's learned a lot since that fight and obviously has applied it very well in the octagon because that was his last loss, is to the champion, Kamaru Usman. So.
Absolutely.
I mean, I hear you, but at the same time, you know.
Yeah, it is what it is, really.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
So I put money on Wonderboy. I put 1,000 church coin on him. I thought he'd be able to stay off the ground. Unfortunately, his takedown defense wasn't good enough those few times he did get taken down. And because of that, Gilbert won. He fought the smartest fight I've seen in a long time anyone take against Wonderboy, and it was very effective.
Yeah. Yeah, I put 16. I think 1,600 on. Let me check the notes here. Dang it. What was it, Tabes?
It was 1,600 on Wonderboy.
Yeah, I put 16 on Wonderboy and lost that one.
All right. Shout out Ant W real quick. If Leon was smart, he would take that Burns fight and try to get the spot on the London card in front of a friendly crowd that would actually cheer him. He needs the visual of him having some fan support. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
You're absolutely right, unfortunately. All right, let's move on to the next fight. Tai Tuivasa and Greg Hardy ended in the first round. Tai Tuivasa got wobbled. Did he wobble or did he slip?
I think he slipped.
I think he slipped. And that slip made it. Hardy thought he wobbled and just rushed in there, put himself in a horrible position, got caught with a big left hook, got dropped and finished. Bam Bam is back, baby. I mean, that was a fucking great fight for as long as it lasted.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I loved it. That was probably the best knockout of the night.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great.
You love Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa. How many shoeys did he do? He did like 3 shoeys leaving, and 4. Then people were pouring beers down.
I think it was 4 total.
And he was doing the long shot beer chugs. This man's a wild man. I love it.
He's great. He's marketed himself, man. I mean, he's an up-and-coming heavyweight top 10 guy, and I think he's big in his country. New Zealand, I believe, right? New Zealand?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And this kid is 28 years old. He's got time to develop. We see this especially in the heavyweight division. You don't hit your prime at 28, 29 years old. It's typically 34, 36, 37 is when you start contending. This man is 6 years away from his prime, and he's knocking out guys like Greg Hardy. Like,
who was significantly bigger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that the guy that we said, source, I think it was Ignorant MMA, actually. We were like, hey, you got to source your Greg Hardy being 340. Well, he actually added us on Twitter, sent the interview, and Greg Hardy was actually walking around at 340.
That's crazy, dude.
It's insane. Crazy. I mean, this was months before the fight, but still, he's a big boy. Greg Hardy's a big boy.
Huge. Absolutely massive. Ty's got that power, though. He's got that. He's the modern day Mark Hunt, I would say. Yeah, I love the guy, and he's got a fantastic personality. Big fan.
He is.
I mean, what do we do with Tai Tuivasa? He did struggle when he started getting ranked matchups. I mean, Greg Hardy isn't the most elite fighter in this division, obviously. I mean, he's fairly green contender, but I mean, he's got so much power. He's so dangerous. You have to respect that.
What do we do with him? Do we throw him like? How about this? How about like Blagoy Ivanov?
Okay. Just to see if he could break into that 15?
Yeah. Yeah, just give him like a 13, 14, 15 guy. I mean, you've got Spivak coming off that win. I like either of those two.
All right. Easy as that. I love that matchup. I agree 100%. So I'm going to go to my church coin pick. I put 250 church coin on Tai. And sorry, guys, if it seems like we're rushing through this stuff. We're trying to keep this episode right around an hour. We have time constraints today. But Tai Tuivasa, 250 church coin got me a nice little return of 200.
Nice. I ended up switching my bet before the podcast last night, and then on the podcast, I just switched my bet that I had for Hardy to Tai Tuivasa. There was something about Tai, and I started thinking about that. I was like, dude, Tai Tuivasa's got a fucking chin. There's no way Greg Hardy's going to finish him, and he didn't. And Tai Tuivasa won. I think this might have been like my only win of the night, but yeah, I put 500 on Tai Tuivasa.
Now you also got Aldana, so let's move on to that.
Right.
Irene, shout out Aunt W. Ty and Rothwell would be fun. That absolutely would be a fun fight if you don't want to give him a ranked matchup.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Absolutely. So Irene Aldana, next fight. Irene Aldana finished Yana Kuznetsova in the first round.
Wow.
That was an amazing performance by Irene Aldana. And, you know, Dana even said it himself. Thank you for bringing Irene Aldana up in the post-fight press conference because I totally forgot about her performance. She deserves extra money. That was a very, very good performance. I mean, the way she got cracked a few times, she was getting hit with big kicks, and then she found the counter punches in the boxing, and it flowed so well. I mean, she busted Yana up.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty bad. Those uppercuts were vicious. Those straight rights, those 1-2s, the combinations were on another level. Her boxing is so elite in this division, and she proved with this fight that she's still a top contender in this division. Is she good enough to contend with a Holly Holm or Amanda Nunes? Probably not yet, but she's still developing in her career. So, I mean, I really like Irene Aldana.
Absolutely. And I feel like we always have to preference this when we're talking about bantamweight fighters in the women's division because remove Amanda, guys. Okay, just do me a favor. Remove Amanda because I don't think anyone beats Amanda, okay? And with all due respect. However, Irene Aldana is a top contender in this division, and she went out there and proved it, dude.
Yes.
She looked phenomenal. And honestly, I'm being real with you. At this point in Holly Holm's career, that would be a matchup I'd love to see. Didn't that matchup happen already, actually? Yeah.
She got completely outclassed by Holly Holm.
And that was what, 3 years ago?
It was about a year and a half ago, I think.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing that rematch. I mean, because as it sits right now, who's Amanda taking on? Juliana Pena, August 7th. You know, I mean, what else is there? What else is there in this division? Maybe Durandame?
I'd love to see that. I would love to see that. I mean, where is?
Or even Aspen
I'm sorry,
Ladd.
I'm on the wrong
Aspen
list.
Ladd's number 3 right now. So.
Yeah, I mean, you got there. You go. I mean, she just beat Kuznetsova, who's number 5.
Yeah.
And where is Aldana? Oh,
and you could do the Durandame Holly Holmes.
Yeah, I mean, if you want her to fight up, that's the matchup to make is Aspen Ladd, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, you got girls that are making their way up. I mean, Jayassian, you got Lena Landsberg. I mean, there's matchups to make with Aldana. I mean, is she going to get a number 1 contender fight beating Yana Kuznetsova? Probably not.
Right.
But I mean, eventually they're going to need 135 contenders.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Eventually.
Amanda's steamrolling through everybody. So you can make arguments to make a big matchup.
Yeah.
All right. So I picked Yana, lost 100 church coin there. The only reason I picked Yana is because I know that Thiago Santos knows where I live.
He does.
He's come to my house before and said, hey, you didn't pick her?
He's going to drop that hammer right on your forehead, and it's not the hammer tattooed on his chest.
I love that running joke. Every time she fights, we make that. I love it.
I picked Irene Aldana here. I really liked her strike up. I thought this was a good matchup for her. She got the job done. I put 200 church coin on Aldana for the win.
Alrighty, opening up the card, Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Chris Moutinho. Immediate reaction, Mason. I'll throw it to you because I know you got a good take here.
Hey, Chris Moutinho, bro, you deserve another fight in the UFC. You took this fight on 10 days' notice. Everyone counted you out. Yes, you got outclassed against might be one of the best strikers in the bantamweight division. Your very first UFC fight with only taking a 10-day notice. You have earned my respect as a fan, and I want to see you. I think you deserve one more fight in the UFC at least. I really hope Dana White signs this man to a 1 or 2 fight contract. I know his skills aren't there to match up against Sugar Sean O'Malley, but we know who O'Malley will be. We know what he will be in this bantamweight division. We know he will be a top 10 guy very soon. You know, this was like a last-minute fight. And Sugar Sean O'Malley now is like 14-1. He's a very good fighter. But this kid also won a bonus because this was fight of the night. And thank you. That's what I want to say to Dana White. For sometimes we disagree, whatever. But thank you for giving this kid an extra $75K. If anyone deserves it, it's this kid. Like, Sugar Sean O'Malley is such a tough matchup. And Sugar was talking, I mean, we know the power of Sugar Sean O'Malley. And this kid was walking through. He's got to change his name to the Zombie or something, dude. Because it was just boom, boom, boom. And he's just marching
forward
down
through everything. And then he was landing big power shots. He was stunning O'Malley a couple of times. Did he win a single round? No.
No.
He got completely outclassed. He had zero defense, I would say. And that's no disrespect to him, but he was marching through that. That does not, I mean, let's be real. That's not the style you want to have a long, successful career. Like, I'm sorry, you don't want to take damage like that. I mean, we were making jokes last night. Like, this is just CTE we're watching.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So, I mean, is that conducive to a long, successful career? No. But, I mean, it was entertaining.
It was.
He pressured Sugar Sean O'Malley like no one has before.
And like, imagine never being in the okay, just imagine this. Imagine never being in the UFC. You get this one opportunity you fought your whole life for. You get a call on 10 days notice to be the opening card on a main card for a Conor McGregor card, and you take that opportunity on 10 days notice.
It put his name out there now.
It did.
You know, I mean, shout out NW. Always coming up with great matchups. Give me Munoz versus Kelleher on a fight night main card would be a banger. Absolutely.
Yep. I think the kid deserves it. And, you know, he's got to work on his defense. There's definitely some holes in his game. But, I mean, to be put against Sugar Sean O'Malley, your first fight in the UFC, like, that's a tough task. Like, I think we can all agree we all knew who was going to win that.
Absolutely. And Sugar flatlines guys in the first round. He has one-punch knockout power, and just completely disregard that and walk through it. That's so impressive. It's so tough. I got a lot of respect for this kid as well.
Same. So do I. And he's definitely on my radar now.
Absolutely. So I put 100 church coin on him just because Sugar Sean was like a minus 800 or some shit.
It was a wild odds. Yeah, I put 300 on him, hoping for the upset win. But hats off to you. You earned my respect, Chris.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to give these guys respect, but we're kind of have rushed through these fights. Carlos Condit, Max Griffin. I mean, Max Griffin just looked fantastic. Absolutely. He looks absolutely fantastic. But Carlos looked great in the second round. He was coming back. He still was hanging around. He was still competitive in this fight. But I just think that there's I think the level of Carlos Condit's game isn't as good as it used to be. And because of that, if you're losing to guys like Max Griffin, no offense, but I think his UFC career is done. Yeah,
it is. But, you know, I do have to say, for the long career that he has had, he's like 37, 38, somewhere around there.
Still one of my favorites. Still a legend of the game.
But again, like, it wasn't a fight where you're like, God, this guy should retire. Like, it was still a good fight. I felt like he fought a decent fight. It was just Max was just the better fighter. And you do have to kind of start looking at it and be like, at what point are you diminishing returns here? At what point are you maybe taking this fight game a little too far as far as like his career and taking the damage that he is? But I don't know. Maybe for Carlos, you do some more like legacy fights. You know, bigger names who are older guys.
You know, the UFC still has a market for that. I mean, look at Matt Brown, Ben Saunders, all these guys. Like, there's
Matt Brown came out too that last fight. That was wild. So I mean, hey.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys still got it. They're still competitive. It's just at some point, it's like how big of a payday is Carlos Condit getting? I'm sure he's got a pretty decent contract. I mean, the guy's a fucking legend. He was an interim champion at one point. So I mean, is it worth the money at some point? Business decisions. We've talked about that a lot. I don't know. I love Carlos Condit. I'm always going to have respect for the guy. But I did take Griffin. I put 100 church coin on him. I had a feeling that Max was just going to be too much.
Yeah. I put something on Max. I don't know what it was.
You put 380. So that gave you an extra turn of 200.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, let's move on. Nico Price versus Michel Pereira. We had to pick this fight. It was a banger at the end.
Yeah.
Michel Pereira does not have 5-round cardio. He doesn't even have fucking 3. If this guy gets a main event, he's fucked. In my opinion, if he can't put this guy away in the first 2 rounds, he is fucked. Nico Price looked fresh in that third. He didn't make the smartest decisions, but he was pressuring him and he was landing big shots. He was going for the knockout, which is what you have to do, especially when you're down 2-0. Shout out to Nico Price. I love the guy. He's fucking entertaining. He's fantastic. So is Michelle. What the fuck was that? Was that an illegal strike when he did that backflip kick?
So I said, because we know Michel Pereira, he does backflips all the time in the octagon during fights. And I said, there's no way in hell he's going to do a backflip. He got them all out at the weigh-ins. Well, boy, was I wrong on that. Of course, his move. Does a backflip. I don't think it was illegal. I don't think he struck his face.
Well, the thing is you got a grounded. I guess the only argument you can make is you got a grounded opponent because he was on his back, and then you're standing up, and then you backflip, kick him in the head, and then land on him.
I mean, it's dangerous.
Hold on. Would you even
That's
consider that a strike?
Yes.
It didn't really land
people
on his head
people do the somersault kicks all the time.
Okay, I don't know. It was really more of like I think he was just like, fuck it, let's see what happens. I don't know if
and then it landed.
Like, I'm going to throw a kick or no. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like you're being
Well, my point is if I was that ref, I would have stopped that. not stop the fight and
There's
ended
just
it.
Dr. No Fun in this scenario.
No, well,
then.
here's the problem. You cannot. The rules are absolute, correct? Like you cannot strike a downed opponent on the ground to the head like that, like
But
especially
does
knees,
it
elbows.
say you cannot moonsault onto somebody and do a backflip on top of them?
I would consider a backflip kick or a backflip strike, especially when you're landing with your foot to the head. I would consider that a kick to a grounded opponent.
What if it's just like a pro wrestling thing where he just does like a
this isn't pro
backflip
wrestling.
on top of him? That's
isn't pro
more
wrestling.
what it was than anything.
Well, in all seriousness, if you were to do a backflip on a ground opponent and you were to do a backflip properly and put, because you're talking about a lot of force and a lot of weight if you were to land directly on a man's neck or face. I mean, you could potentially break a bone in their face or their neck. It is. But, it's entertaining and, it's one of those.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
It is
thank
what
you,
it is. It
Max.
didn't get stopped. So, I mean, the fight went on, and it didn't make a difference. Nico still lost a round, and whether that kick landed or not, he landed on top, and he dominated from there.
Right.
So, it is what it is in that term. But if I was a ref and I saw that, I mean, I guess it's up to the ref, really. Is that a strike to a downed opponent? I don't know. I'd love to get more clarity. I'd love to ask a ref what his opinion on that would be. And I guess it is what it is with that. I picked Price. I put 100 church coin on him. Did not work out for me.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the MMA news. Wrong fuck button. My bad. MMA news.
Hey!
Guys, I'm not trying to rush through this, but we are at a time constraint here. We have 15 minutes left till we have to finish. We're going to try and get through this as soon as possible, then get to our preview show. But starting out, CM Punk's loss was overturned due to a marijuana positive test by Mike. I can't even remember the guy's fucking name. He had one fight. Mike Jackson. That's right. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson. So CM Punk is now 0-1 in the UFC. Do you give him another fight?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I want to see him matched up against one of the legends like Conor McGregor.
I want to see him and Carlos
It
Condit.
doesn't even make sense, but let's just match him up. Why not?
That's the Carlos Condit fight right there.
No, he's going to fight Sugar Sean next. I said
Yeah,
it last night. That's the fight.
There you go.
What a ridiculous thing to start MMA news with, but it's news.
I feel like they almost did that on purpose because if you remember Mike Jackson, the way he was acting with CM Punk, like trying to clown him
The
when he was on the
bolo
ground,
punches
and I was
and
like,
shit.
oh my God, bro.
Yeah, it was
So they
good.
probably just did it to be like, hey, fuck you, you're never getting signed again. That's probably all it was.
So funny. All right, real MMA news. Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler 2 is in the works for October UFC 267. Immediate reaction.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but that was the matchup I literally said would be perfect for a Nick Diaz return. I said Robbie Lawler for sure. Let's get the second one. Let's get it going. And that's exactly what ended up happening here. I feel like on this podcast, we're pretty good at predicting matchups. There's a few other ones that we're going to go through that we literally said, yep, that's the guy. That's who this person should fight. And it ends up happening. As far as the matchup, I love it. I think it makes perfect sense. And it's a fight I genuinely want to see. And I think it's a good kind of test to see where Nick Diaz really is in this division. And Robbie Lawler's that perfect matchup. I think Robbie's sitting at like 15 right now, 14, 15. And it's a good way to break Nick Diaz into that. Because Nick's going to need 2 or 3 fights before he really fights top elite guys in this welterweight division. So
Robbie Lawler is not ranked.
he was 15 a little while ago, but they might have actually just kicked him out.
Yeah, he hasn't fought since, I believe, the Colby Covington fight.
Okay.
So, I mean, that makes sense. Pull him out of the rankings. I think it's a great matchup. Sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze.
Yeah, but
God damn it. Sorry. No, I think it's a great matchup. I'd love to see it. It's a matchup that was made, I believe, almost 20 years ago. Almost 20 years
That's
since the
insane.
last fight.
that's wild.
It's a great fight. It's a Legends fight. I want to see it. It's the best matchup you can make for Nick Diaz right now, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the matchup. Love it.
Absolutely. Edson Barboza versus Giga Chikadze is set for 5 rounds as a main event. I believe sometime in September. I could look this up if you want more specifics, but that is a fantastic main event. Giga Chikadze deserves it. Edson Barboza deserves it. The winner of this fight will probably have a great top 5 matchup, and I can't fucking wait for that one.
This is going to be a barn burner.
Barn burner.
We're going to get 5 rounds of these guys just throwing. I'm looking forward to this.
Potential fight of the year.
Oh,
Absolutely.
for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you, kids.
Absolutely. I mean, just look at the matchup on the feet. I mean, these guys are the most technical kickboxers you have at 145 pounds right now. Easily.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have them fight each other. I cannot fucking
Do we
wait
know
for
when
this
that fight is?
It's sometime in September.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That's close. That's coming up. So that's definitely main eventing a fight night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
It is 5 rounds. So
I'm so excited for that.
Very, very excited for that. Edson Barboza deserves it. Like I said, Giga Chikadze deserves it. Giga wanted to fight Yair on short notice. He was calling for that matchup. Didn't happen when that fight fell through. So
can we both agree here, though, the winner of that fight deserves a top 5?
Absolutely.
Maybe 6 at worst, but top 5.
Absolutely. They deserve a Calvin Kattar.
Yeah.
They deserve a fucking Yair Rodriguez, a chance on Young, an Allen or an Arnold Allen, something like that. Josh Emmett, any fight that gets you into the top for a number 1 contender spot.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Last little bit of MMA news. Khamzat Chimaev is back.
He is.
He has a fight announced. He's going to fight Ling Ji Liang, the Leech. I don't believe it's a 5-round main event. I believe this is on a pay-per-view, so I believe this is in September at UFC 266.
That would probably be pushing... Is that September or is that going to be an October card?
Maybe it is October. Maybe that is the same card
I
as
saw
Nick.
October for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
UFC
267. Okay, that'll be a fantastic card. I mean, look at that. Now you're going to have Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler, Khamzat Chimaev, Li Jingliang, and then who knows who the main event of that's going to be.
I think it was supposed to be Ortega Volkanovski is what they said allegedly. It was supposed to be October, November for that one. So I think that's the plan.
I love it.
I love it. I love that matchup, and I think it makes the most sense right now for both fighters.
Okay, Khamzat Chimaev wins. What do you do with him next?
Oh, my God.
Because, I mean, they did want this. They pushed this man hard. If he would have beat a Leon Edwards in the beginning, that's a title shot worthy fight. And I think that's really what they were trying to do. He beat Leon Edwards. They were going to put him against Usman. So does he beat Jing Liang and then put himself in a position to fight a Gilbert Burns, to fight a Masvidal, to fight someone who's big, to fight a number 1 contender fight?
How about this? If he goes out there and beats Jing Liang, the Leech, how about Wonderboy coming off that loss?
I love it.
That's a top 5 guy. Let's see where he's at. Let's see where Khamzat is at. I don't think it's a good matchup for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but I think that's really, we're going to see how good Khamzat is if he's fighting a guy like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and it's perfect too. Stephen's towards the latter part of his career. I believe he's 37-38 as well. If Stephen Wonderboy Thompson wins that fight against Khamzat after coming off that win, if he does beat Jing Liang, then he absolutely deserves it. Like, deserves to still be in the running if Stephen Wonderboy Thompson can go out there and beat Khamzat Chimaev after that. I think it matches up stylistically great for both of them in, like, the worst way possible, if that makes sense. Because, like, Khamzat, we're going to see how he's going to deal with that range, and we're going to see if Stephen Wonderboy Thompson can avoid that takedown and avoid getting smashed.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because, I don't think Khamzat outstrikes Steven. I think he takes him down just like Gilbert Burns, and Khamzat's got the better wrestling,
right?
Without a doubt. I mean, he's a freak. He's a freak on the ground, and he's a freak standing up. So, Ignorant MMA, the Leech, what a good fight. Leech by KO. Can Khamzat compete with Leech on the feet? Probably. I think so, but I think if Khamzat wants to win dominantly, he's going to take the Leech down.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
All right. Preview showtime. So, this was the original card. It was Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez. Fight fell through. We have a new main event. Islam Makhachev versus Thiago Moises for 5 rounds. Gun to your head. Who are you taking in this match?
Oh, gun to my head? Islam Makhachev all day. We're Islam lovers here. We love Makhachev. So absolutely, gun to my head. I'm taking Makhachev. Please don't shoot me. However, no, seriously, stylistic. Thiago Moises is the real deal. He's a great fighter in his own right. But Islam Makhachev, again, we believe is really special in this division. The Vegas odds have it set right now. Islam Makhachev is a favorite, minus 575. Thiago Moises coming in at a plus 425. Those are pretty astronomical odds, if I do say so myself.
The minus 575, it is astronomical. I agree with that, but I agree with it. I mean, Islam's a massive favorite coming into this. This was a fight that shouldn't have been made. Islam should have been fighting a top 5 guy. No one wanted that. Everyone was avoided. Everyone was matched up already. The timing didn't work out for the guy.
Yeah.
But Thiago Moises is no slouch, like you said.
No.
He's very good off his back. He's got great jiu-jitsu. He's got fantastic striking as well. Does Islam Makhachev try to keep it on the feet and try to strike with Thiago, or does he try to take him down and worry about that pressure and worry about that ground game off his back? I think Islam is so elite in the wrestling, I think it doesn't matter if he lays on top of him and pounds him into the mat. He dominates that way. But Islam's striking is very, very good. People don't talk about it as much. He loves to strike with guys. Can he go out there and outclass Thiago Moises on the feet as well? Maybe. I think that's his hardest route to success, but I think it's a very viable one. I'm going Islam Makhachev. I just think he's a dominant fighter. I think a win over Thiago Moises especially if everyone's avoiding him still, I think he deserves to wait for a top 5 matchup, possible number 1 contender. And if it doesn't happen, if they force this guy to fight another top 10 guy, say, if they go, hey, now Islam, you got to fight Dan Hooker. Or, hey, Islam, now you got to fight Gregor Gillespie. Hey, Islam, now you got to fight Diego Ferreira. Someone like that. I think a win like that should just push him right up to like a Justin Gaethje matchup or something like that. This man needs to fight for a number 1 contender spot.
But Dan Hooker would bring a lot more eyeballs to him if he were to get matched up with Dan. Even though Dan's sitting at 8 right now, I really still like that RDA fight. I love the Islam RDA fight. That's one where like you're really going to see where is Islam at. Thiago Moises, no disrespect to him, I don't see where he wins. I think Islam is just so superior, especially on the ground. I mean, Thiago Moises is a savage in his own right. He looked phenomenal against Alexander Hernandez.
Yes, he did.
I was really blown away with that performance. But again, I think there are levels to this game. I think Islam's just so good. So if he does go out there and beat Thiago Moises, you're thinking Justin Gaethje next, huh? I would go more like RDA, maybe Tony Ferguson. I mean, I feel bad, but give Tony one more.
I get it. It's a good matchup, and it's a number 1 contender worthy fight, especially if he beats Tony Ferguson. I just don't want to see it, man. I
know.
The way
I love
Tony's
Tony
losing,
too much.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to take Islam. I do think he's a better fighter. I think he's superior on the ground. I think could possibly be superior on the feet as well. I'd love to see that matchup, how it plays out. I'd love to see the jiu-jitsu transitions, the ground transitions. I'm very excited for this fight, but I'm going to take Islam. Even at a minus 575, it just seems like the easy bet.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go pretty big on Islam. I'm gonna risk my lead that I just won. 6,000 church coin.
Okay, 6,000 church coin on Islam Makhachev. Not a bad bet, Tabor. For me, I do like the underdogs when I'm betting. As far as who I'm picking to win this fight, I really do believe Islam Makhachev will win this fight. However, Thiago Moises has got hands, and if he does catch Islam, it would be interesting to me to see how Islam chin hangs in there. But for me, I mean, I'm picking Islam to win this fight, clear cut and concise. However, I am a betting man, and a betting man does not pass up on a plus 425. So I'm going to lay 500 on Thiago Moises on the chance that he catches Islam and knocks him out. But I think Islam wins this fight pretty decisively via decision. But for the hell of it, I put my money on Thiago for plus 425. So
absolutely,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Co-main event of the evening: Marion Renault versus Misha.
Hold on,
Gids.
Your pick?
Gids. That's right, Gids. You're making.
Oh yes, we got to announce this real quick. So Gids, the producer in the corner there. You want to go to the producer cam? Yay, there he is. He will now be doing church coin bets with us as well, and he's going to start out with 10,000 church coin. So Gids, why don't you tell us who do you have in this main event?
I got Islam, and I'm going with
1,000. That's what you put.
2,500. I'm
changing it. I like it. All right.
I am also a betting man, Mason.
Yes.
But not all long shots are good bets.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're typically not. Hence why I just lost my lead for the first time this year. But, it's...
You bet on the Irish.
I did. It wasn't the luck of it.
Marion Renault, co-main of the evening versus Misha Tate. Marion's coming at a plus 110 to a minus 130 of Misha. Misha's first comeback fight in several years. She did retire. She's coming back. And I'm not going to lie. She's looking fucking good. I don't know if you're following her Instagram.
Fighting wise, or are you just talking how
No,
she
like
looks?
physique wise.
Both.
Like as a fighter, yeah, she really does.
She looks like she's
shape.
in fantastic shape, possibly the best shape of her life. She started a family. She has new motivations. I love everything that I'm seeing from Misha. Misha was my favorite female fighter for a very long time until she retired. I'm just a big fan. I really like Misha Tate. I like her in this matchup as well. I think she's a very good ground fighter. And she can outstrike Renault on the feet. I'm interested. I'm very interested. If she can come back and beat a Renault, I think she's right back into the mix. I'm not going to say she's a top 5 contender off the bat. Absolutely not. She's going to have to prove herself in that. But, you give her a top 10 contender after that. You could even give her a top 5 because she's such a big name. I mean, let's just say she beats Renault. Where's Renault in the rankings? 12. That sets her up for a Juliana Pena. That sets her up for a Yana Kuznetskaya. That sets her up for an Irene Aldana off that win. This sets her up for so many matchups. I believe she wants that Amanda Nunes rematch, and I believe that's what she's going for. That's the goal of coming back.
Yeah, and, for coming back after taking such a long layoff, obviously starting a family, all great things. We love Misha Tate on this podcast. We just haven't got to talk about her at all because, she had been retired since the time we have started this podcast. But it's a really crazy thing. I was just looking up her age because, I remember watching her years ago, man. Like, years ago. She's still only 34 years old. I mean, she could potentially potentially
She's in her
still
prime
be
right
in her
now.
prime right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I really like Miesha Tate here. Renault is 44 years old. She's older. She's 9-7-1. She did win her last fight, but again, Miesha Tate is potentially one of the better ones around. I am actually going to go all in. And when I say all in, I mean just basically all in. I'm going to put 5,000 church coin on Tate for the win. I really think she's going to pull this one off. And I really like the odds here to -130 to Renault being a +110. So I'm going to go 5,000 on Miesha Tate.
All right. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's great odds, and it's a great bet. I'm going to put 1,000. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put 2,000 church coin on Tate just so I have a little more. I'm pretty much putting almost all my church coin on this one. Let's go with 2,000 Tate. I do believe she's a better fighter. I believe she's going to get the win, regardless whether it goes to the ground or stays on the feet. I just think she's going to be the better overall fighter of the night. So let's move on to the next fight. Oh, Gids.
Yep, it's going to be hard. We're going to have to figure out how to get me in on this.
It's okay.
Every time we're like, okay, moving on.
No.
I'm going to go Miesha. I'll do 1,000 as well. I just think, honestly, from a narrative perspective, Miesha coming back, winning, being a killer, and then trying to take on Amanda, who was the one who murdered her at UFC 200. I think it's just a good storyline, and I actually hope she does well because I've always liked Miesha.
Same.
So, all right, next fight, Jeremy Stevens at a +200 to a -240 of. I'm gonna crush this one. Matuz Gamrat. This is. I feel like I know this guy. The name is familiar. I just can't remember for some reason. Maybe there's just too many fights. I can't keep track. But I feel like I know this guy. I've seen him fight.
He fucking flatlined Scott Holtzman in the second round.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was back in April on
You're
that
right.
Victoria Holland card.
That's right. Okay, so this guy's good. I mean, 18-1. He's got a fantastic record, and he's coming in at a -240 to Jeremy Stevens, who is no fucking slouch and comes in and throws, comes in and bangs every single time. Does he have the greatest record? 28-18? No, but he's a fan favorite. He comes to fight, and he comes to show up. Possible fight of the night. Very excited for this fight. I like Jeremy Stevens at a +200. I'm going to keep it real sweet and quick. If he lands one of those crazy left hooks, crazy right hook, he could put anyone out in this lightweight division. I love that he's back at lightweight. He's not killing himself to get down to 145. +200. I'm going to throw 100 church coin on Stevens. Fuck it, why not?
Who the fuck is that guy?
Had to do it, right? No? Okay. So for Jeremy Stevens, again, I do like Jeremy Stevens. However, he has been on a skid since 2018. He went out there and beat Josh Emmett, but then lost to Jose Aldo, lost to Zabit Magomed Sharipov, and then lost to Yair Rodriguez in 2019, then lost to Calvin Kattar in 2020, and now he's got a matchup with Gamrot.
He's on a skid.
Those are all top contenders in this division, so I want to take nothing away from Jeremy.
Is this fight at 145 or is this at 155? I think he moved up.
Oh, this is the lightweight.
This is his first lightweight matchup.
This is his first lightweight matchup. So it does make things a little bit more interesting here. However, I really like this Gamrot. I'm going to lay 2,000 church coin on him. I think he's going to finish Jeremy Stevens in the second round via TKO. I'm going Matsuts Gamrot for 2,000 church coin. Gids, what's your take?
Give me 500 on Gamrot.
Okay.
500 on Gamrot. Let's go.
All right. Next fight. We have Rodolfo Vieira versus Dustin Stolfus. -240 for Vieira, +200 for Stolfus. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I love the jiu-jitsu on Vieira's side. I love the striking on Vieira's side. I just think there's a reason why he's a -240 favorite. I think he's going to come in, and I think he might starch the Stolfus guy. Even though Stolfus is no fucking slouch himself. I love these matchups, dude. This is actually looking like a great card. Is it the best name-wise? Probably not. You know, you don't have the most recognizable names. You do have Tate, you have Islam, you have Moises, stuff like that. But this is set up to be a fantastic fight night. Guys, these guys you usually don't know. These names that don't pop off the page for you, these are the guys you got to watch.
Oh, and also, we should probably announce this, too. We are actually just doing a fight companion next week for this. We're going to have an amateur mixed martial arts on, soon to turn pro. We're going to have on. He's going to hang out and just watch the fights with us. We'll probably talk to him about his training, like what it's like, because it's so much different than you like signing up for a boxing class 3 days a week and then training to be a professional fighter. So we'll probably get the inside scoop, hopefully. I think it'll be a good podcast.
I got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I really do, because I'd love to learn the ins and outs of a fight camp, stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. It's gonna be very fun.
I've watched his fights live. He's a smaller guy. He fights at I think like flyweight. So he's but dude, he's wild. Like his first amateur fight, I was like, damn, I can't believe he's that good. for his first fight. He was fighting some kid who'd been fighting forever at AT&T or ATT, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. AT&T, the phone company, whatever.
Yeah, church coin picks. I got 100 on Vieira. Shout out Ignorant MMA. Rodolfo Vieira has no gas tank. Yeah, but if I don't think this fight goes 3 rounds, someone's probably getting finished. I'm going Vieira. I like that he's the favorite, and I just think it's an easy pick. 100 church coin.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, for me, I'm gonna go Stolfus 400 church coin.
All right, Gids.
I'll go Stolfus, but I'll do 250 just because he's already it's plus 200, so I'll at least make something out of it.
All right. Opening up fight of the main card, Gabriel Benitez versus Billy Quarantillo. Quarantillo's no fucking slouch. I don't have odds on this right now. I love Quarantillo. I also love Gabriel Benitez. This is going to be a banger. This is a great way to open up the card. Both these guys are going to come and throw. Both these guys are great off their backs. Both of them have fantastic jiu-jitsu, fantastic transitions on the ground if it goes there, fantastic striking if it stays on the feet. Very excited for this fight. This is the type of fight you need to open up a card. This is the type of fight to get people hyped for the rest of it.
So here are the odds here. Gabriel Benitez is a minus 215. Billy Quarantillo coming in at a plus 172. Let's just add that to 175.
Okay, so I got Quarantillo 100 church coin.
Perfect. Yeah, I got Quarantillo here. I really like him in this matchup despite being the underdog. I'm going to go Quarantillo 200 church coin.
Shout outs.
Oh, no, Gids.
Gids, that's right. My bad.
No, it's fine. You guys
like, yeah,
both pick
I guess I'll fuck
Quarantillo,
myself.
So I'll pick Benitez, and we'll do 400 church coin.
Okay.
All righty.
Shout outs, Mason. You got any?
Yeah, shout out to everyone who was watching the live stream last night for our Fight Companion. We had 50 likes on that video. We had 600 views. It was just a really fun time. I mean, that was the first time we went 5 or 6 hours doing a podcast. We even did a Patreon exclusive podcast afterwards that went about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Started talking about the Pentagon and the aliens coming out and all this kind of cool shit. We're putting together our Patreon right now. We're probably just going to do one flat tier, and you guys will get behind the scenes footage, some vlogs, some different things that we're going to be working on for the future, but we're really excited about it. And we just built a website, thechurchofmma.com. So go check out our website for all the latest news and updates. You can find all our social medias there, where we are on podcast platforms. We're soon going to write a couple articles a week, have some videos. So a lot of things in the work for this channel. And we just really want to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, guys. So if you got a friend, if you guys are watching right now, smash that subscribe button. Let's hit 1,000 subs. We're 8 away. We just hit another one. We're at 992.
Let's go.
Let's go.
My shout out goes to you, Ignorant MMA. I have to signal you out individually because, my guy, you were there all 5 hours last night.
Yeah, he was.
All 5 hours last night. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. Like we said, guys, website, social media accounts, everything. Check it all out. Shout out to you, Ignorant. Shout out to you, Aunt W. Shout out to you, Desi.
Kevin Weeks.
Everybody that shows up, everybody that contributes. We appreciate this so much. Like Mason said, guys, push us to 1,000. Take your friends' phones, subscribe, share our platform, give it to your family members, ask them to subscribe, ask them to smash that like button. Everything helps. And if you're feeling extra frisky, go to our Patreon page. We will be uploading all of that stuff soon. You will be able to buy a tier. You will get exclusive content. Tell your friends. And we appreciate everything that we are getting so far. Guys, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at The Church of MMA. If you aren't following us already, make sure you go and do it. We're posting funny memes. We're trying to make you guys laugh. Hit us up.
Yeah, you guys know the deal. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you, each and every one of you guys, for watching The Church of MMA and making it what it is today and what it will become in the future. We couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you very much for listening to us. This is The Church of MMA podcast. My name is